Balladeers in the company of Shakespeare.
No, it's Iconoclast.
Yeah, how do you want to call it?
On purpose. We're sticking with Iconoclast.
Iconoclast. All right, we're claiming it as ours.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we are.
Yeah, all right. So welcome to Iconoclast. First of all, let's give Dale a round of applause for keeping it in here. Thank you, Dale. We love you.
Woo!
I guess I'll be the host tonight.
I can help.
I am Cher Guevara. So let's get this shit rolling. As usual, the rules stay the same. You know, if you want to come up, come on up. There's no list. You feel the poetic spirit move you, come on up. Obviously, we're not going to censor you. You know, there's nobody here but poets, and you really can't offend poets. I've known poets.
That is a lie.
Okay, never mind. Thistle, you can definitely.
I can be offended.
No. I know what offends me. Motherfuckers who come up to me are like, well, if it's not memorized, it doesn't really count.
Yeah, that's bullshit. All my stuff's right.
Memorized.
Who the hell does that?
Anyway,
Anyway, so yeah, just come up, speak your piece. As usual, we try to do between 1 to 3 poems a cycle. If you have more poems, that's great. You know, do 1 to 3. Sit down, let some other people come up, and then come up again. You can come up as many times as you want. We're going to be here till 9:30, 10 o'clock, so I'm happy those of you who decided to show up. That's wonderful. We got some new faces in the crowd. That's great. You know, first new venue. Already got new faces. Hopefully we'll see you up here on stage. So I'll go ahead and start. I'll do an original and I'll do a cover.
Personal shit.
That's right. Oh, here we. I don't think I've done this one before. This is new shit.
New shit.
Yeah.
I caught you on the first time.
I know. This is called Innocence. The boy shot the dove in the cold gray Christmas morning, locked the bird into the sights of his pellet rifle, and pulled the trigger. The boy shot the dove, not to eat whatever meat was on the slim white frame. The boy shot the dove, his grandfather's words ringing through the barrel, his grandfather's shouts pushing the pellet at lethal speed. The boy shot the dove, his grandfather told him to kill the things of beauty, to kill the things of love, to kill the things that would make him a sissy. He was 13, it was time to become a man. He leaned his camera down to capture his trophy, to show his friends that he had become a man. He scooped the bird into a plastic grocery bag and threw it in the dumpster. The remains of peace lying cold and discarded.
True story, that actually happened. I was there.
That one is a true story. All right, so the cover that I'm going to do, this is also actually new shit.
New shit?
New covered shit?
Huh?
Newly covered shit.
New covered shit, yeah. For those of you who have seen me more times than you care to remember, you probably know a poet by the name of Stephen Mills, the guy who does the fisting poem.
Woo!
For those of you who haven't seen me do the fisting poem, stick around long enough, you'll see it.
Still time.
It may happen.
But Steve posted on his Facebook, he was recently in this magazine that just came out like 2 days ago. And me being me, I asked him, I said, well, I got a show Thursday, can I read your piece? He's like, yeah, that's fine. So here's something new from Stephen Mills.
Woo!
Woohoo! This is called Domestic Terror. A woman crouches in the corner of a building on 22nd Street, crying over something lost or something found, or maybe just a rush of recognition. This is how it all turns out, these tears on this street in this city where no one will stop or flinch or judge. And then later on the subway map, there's a sticker that reads, Rikers is here, with a red arrow marking the spot, marking the absence, marking 10,000 bodies forgotten. So close, like everything in New York. 20,000 hands on bars, assuming everyone has two. It's easier to believe in evil than in the complexity of the human condition. And it was just yesterday that you rushed an old woman hit by a taxi to the hospital, knowing well enough she was going to die. They all die, you say. But it is your job to do what you can to rush her away in the charade of control. To act the living go through, and act the living go through. Like the men who pulled the car off of her, prayed over her, imagined she was still breathing, still trying to talk, all before you got there with your skills and gloves and flashing lights. Though none of that would matter in the long run. The same day Pfizer blocked the last of their drugs from being used in lethal injections, and somewhere, not here, bodies felt reprieve. No one wants the responsibility of the kill, just the dead body. And sometimes I think of the thrill of seeing Jude Law's cock in The Talented Mr. Ripley when I was 17. And then a different thrill when Matt Damon smothers that man at the end, proving everything creeps towards disaster. Spoiler alert, we are all monsters. Public executions were eventually banned in the United States. Evidence showing no benefit, so we closed the doors, locked everything away. But things locked up are still there, whether we remember them or not. Recently, I've been writing to gay prisoners through the Black and Pink organization. One told me to be careful out there in the real world. As silly as this sounds, he wrote, I feel safer in here. But even in the execution room, there is space for the unexpected. The call from the governor, the med's gone wrong, a burnt last meal, a stumbled final phrase, and then the stopping of a heart that feels like justice for a split second before it fades into something darker than a room with a body not moving anymore. Unlike how I imagine you in the hospital after a call, always confident, always calm, always accepting the fate of your days. And now, right now, the air conditioner is broken on this subway car. And it's 1 a.m. and everyone wants to go home. Sweat pools, runs down faces. We stare at each other in shared misery and then begin to count the stops, the blocks, the numbers rising. And there on the map, circled in red above my head, Rikers is here. Thanks. Who'd like to go next?